Please welcome Bill Rossi, President, and Head Coach Sandy Machuca of Utica Boxing Association. Kenny, it's all yours.
Thank you very much. Sandy, Bill, it's a pleasure to have you here tonight on Central New York After Dark. Get them up, get them up. That's all I want to say, get them up. I'd like to know, first of all, as a boxing fan myself, Bill, if I could direct this question to you, where is the Utica Boxing Club? And when did it come to be?
Well, Kenny, thank you for having us, first of all. We very much appreciate the opportunity to be here, talk about our program. The Utica Boxing Association is located at the DeSales Neighborhood Center, which was formerly the DeSales Elementary School on Genesee Street, 309 Genesee Street, directly across the street from Munson Williams Proctor Institute. And how it came about, basically, there was several young men about my age who got together and decided that we wanted to put a youth diversionary program in inner city Utica, and boxing was what we knew. I come from a little bit of background with the Rome Boxing Association for a few years, and that's how it developed.
That's very interesting, and that's here in Utica. Are you affiliated with Rome also, the Rome Boxing Club?
I was affiliated with the Rome Boxing Association up until July of 1995, and that's an organization that's been around since the 30s in one form or another. I served on the board there, and I was treasurer and then eventually president for a short period of time, and then when we started Utica, it became too much to do both, and I moved over to Utica. It's closer to where I live, and the Rome gym still functions and operates and is viable.
That's very interesting. On an average day, I don't know what your schedule, your hours of open are, but on an average day, how many boys would you say, or men that show up actually for boxing that would like to get into this sport?
It varies depending on weather. Right now there's transportation problems getting youth to and from the gym. We serve right now the immediate community right around the gym. So I would say between 15 and sometimes up to 30. 30 youth a night.
That's a day?
Yeah, per night, yep.
And you can accommodate this many people?
We've got 5,000 to 7,000 square feet. We've got a 24-foot competition ring, a full stage area. It was the old auditorium in St. Francis de Sales for those people who've been there. So there's quite a lot of room. So we've had, when we first opened, nights of 50-plus youths in the facility at one time.
That's interesting. Is there a renewed interest in boxing in Oneida, Herkimer County, Madison County? What type of following do you have?
I think there is a renewed interest because of the program, quite frankly. Boxing on a national level, attendance is down a little bit, and that's due to a lot of things. I think the access to a multitude of sports now. Just 15 years ago when I graduated high school, there was a lot less available for kids compared to today. I mean, kids are starting soccer at 5 years old. There's just so many different sports and activities kids can be involved in today. However, the inner city kid doesn't have as much access to a lot of those sports, so we find that they gravitate to boxing. It appeals to the community because it's easily accessible and low cost.
Are you a boxer yourself?
No, I am not. No,
you come from a boxing family at all?
No, I don't. I started. I took some karate in high school and just got into the gym for the cardiovascular workout of it when I was in my early 20s, and stuck with it for a few years. And I just became. I'm more of a fan of the sport and more of a fan of just an admirer of people who actually, give their life and their time to the ring.
One other question. After Tommy Morrison's admission, his HIV admission, what precautions are taken at your area that you do in your boxing club?
Well, the precautions have been in place for a long time as far as those kind of precautions. The contact in amateur boxing is truly minimal compared to the professional end. People who see professional boxing, that's not what we do at the Utica Boxing Association. Basically, the youth are put through a vigorous workout. And when they are in the ring, they're completely protected with headgear, hand wraps, foul protectors, large gloves, and the actual contact time that they spend in the ring actually engaging in sparring or boxing is very minimal. And as far as the precautions we take they rarely go full speed as far as contact-wise. And when we do, we have everybody. There's a first aid kit. Everybody's trained and certified through USA Boxing Incorporated, which is out of Colorado Springs. They're the governing body of boxing. So we've all been to clinics and we address it that way. We've rarely had a cut, let alone any kind of major injury in the gym in the year and a few months that we've been open.
How do we as Utica rank, with the rest of the boxing clubs?
We rank as well. I could tell you this, and we're certainly the best facility. As far as physical facility by far. I've been in many of the facilities around the state and further out. We are by far the nicest facility. And as far as population, we're a growing club. We're getting there. We need more help from the community, coaching and volunteer staff, and just to spread the word to get more youth in the program. I would say we're probably one of the stronger programs in the central New York region. We're part of the Adirondack region, which goes from Catskill, New York, all the way over to Canastota. And would you say we're probably one of the stronger?
Most definitely. We have a large body of youth that are just beginning to box. So for novices, we have quite a few of them. After they get at least 3 to 5 bouts under their belts, we find a lot of them are falling away, but we continually get new boxers in. And so right now we don't have too many what we term open class boxers, which are those that have over 10 bouts. And the rankings mostly concentrate on that population of the boxing.
Sandy, I'll kind of direct this to you. Is there a routine that a fighter goes through, and is there a set agenda that they have to follow? You as a trainer, could you elaborate on that a little bit for us?
Well, we usually concentrate on the conditioning, which involves aerobic and muscle toning, and it involves a lot of, we have to train these guys to be able to withstand the rigors of the sport, because it's so physically demanding that no one takes over for you. You're in there by yourself and the show's on you. You have to be able to box for 3 rounds with a minute rest in between. Normally that's 3 2-minute rounds.
Obviously, the fighting, there should be some equipment. I believe we have some headgear that we brought with us.
Definitely.
Could you just elaborate on that a little bit for us, the headgear? And
Well, we don't have headgear with us. We seem to have forgotten that.
the headgear? Well,
This basically is right out of my workout bag. And Sandy, you could talk a little bit about it. I'll hand that to you. And we brought a couple of little items here we can get to.
Well, the equipment that the boxers use are generally 12 to 14-ounce gloves is what they work out with. And during competition, they normally have 12-ounce gloves on. And the boxer also has a headgear which protects from excessive head blows, and it does absorb part of the punishment that they receive. But they're not really exposed to that much punishment for very long. But at the same time, it's a safety precaution. And then there's also the foul protector and the mouthpiece, which before every bout, a referee comes to each corner to check that the boxer has that equipment.
that's what I assume was the headpiece.
Yeah, well, you wouldn't want to put this on your head there, Ken.
I don't think so. No, I don't think so.
This is a foul protector, and it's basically for your foul, below the belt foul. Has a cushioned area around the waist here to protect the lower abdomen, and then, of course, the cup protector. This is basically a bag glove, and these things, like I said, were just in my bag, so I grabbed them out of there. And this is a very light workout mitt. They're kind of antiquated now because they don't offer a lot of protection for the hand or the wrist support, but people do use them. And then I also brought a hand wrap. And these are your standard hand wraps that you'll find in the magazines or the catalogs that we supply with the gym. And this is a Mexican-style hand wrap because it's a gauze type. There's some stretch to it. And the hand, and you can see it's quite long here. And you wrap the hand and the wrist with that. And if you'd like a display of that or a description, Sandy could basically show you that.
Obviously, with the equipment that you've got, there's got to be some funding. Where does money come from to fund all of the equipment that's used?
Money comes, and that's a very interesting topic to us because we are all volunteer and all nonprofit. The board of directors got together when we first started out and we pitched in $5 a meeting every other week until we got enough money to get our incorporation. Once we got our incorporation, we tried to write some grants, and the city of Utica was kind enough to take a look at us and see that we had a mission, we had a plan mapped out, and a way to attack this situation we wanted to address, which was these kids in the inner city with nothing to do. And they funded us. They funded us for the last 2 years with the community development block grants. And it's an
I
honorable.
think, Sandy, before we get out of here tonight, I think I'm going to have you try to do a hand wrap on me if we could. As long as we've got the equipment there, if the time is appropriate, I think, is there anything you could do maybe to wrap one of my hands?
Sure. Just extend your hand. And basically, you have to start at the other end because it's got the little ring to put around your thumb.
Oh, I see.
It's
This would be quite interesting.
and fortunately, this one has this side down on it, so so when you get to the end, you don't have to make any adjustments.
When we wrap hands of the kids at the gym or anybody, the wrist is given a little snugger fit usually for support.
I was going to say, you're wrapping it fairly loose now, but
Right.
as you progress, it gets tighter.
Right.
Yes,
And
Is that
we give
correct?
support to the wrist, and usually the hand is a little looser. You want to spread your fingers, so when you do make a fist, it doesn't compress your hand. And
Now,
when
does that look like a fist of a boxer or what? I mean, look at that.
You've got ample
I'm good at running.
size to that net.
And then a crisscross pattern is usually given across the back of the hand to add support, because when you do hit the bag, there's a lot of force there, or a person, but hopefully the bag. And the hand it gives us some structural support to the back of your hand and to your knuckles. And of course, he's wrapping the thumb, so you won't be thumbing your opponents in the eye.
You see a lot of that
winning by foul.
today, the thumbing. And another interesting question, I think, you don't hear it as often, but a bolo punch. You don't hear the terminology. It's more or less of an uppercut. What can you tell me about a bolo? Is that term used?
Well, it's an illegal blow in amateur athletics.
You're ready to go.
I'm ready to go. Round one. Well, Bill and Sandy, it's been very interesting. You touched on a subject close to my heart. I certainly have enjoyed boxing for many, many years, and look forward to seeing you at tournaments. And please come back and join us again.
I hope you will come. It's quite entertaining.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We appreciate it. Sandy?
Thanks.
Get him up.
Mike McDougall, thanks for making us more aware of things spiritual. Bill Rossi, Sandy Machuca will be looking for you at ringside. And as always, Ken, what can I say? Good night.